The concept for emotional biodiversity came about in a period of time when I was doing some research, and I realised that a lot of my work was focused on the climate emergency, but more from the human standpoint, more from the psychological and the neurological standpoint. Why are we denying? Why are we not taking action? We understand what's necessary, but it's very hard to make changes in our own lives. What I started to do was to research the field of climate psychology, and I discovered a climate psychologist called Caroline Hickman who'd researched expansively around the idea of emotions and climate change, and she coined the term emotional biodiversity. For her, what that meant was in order for us to process what's going on with the climate, we need to explore our own emotional response. We need to feel what we feel, which is sometimes anger, sometimes hopelessness, sometimes hope perhaps, and experience all of those different emotions in order to make incremental or drastic changes in our own lives and the way that we behave. I think the most touching thing about emotional biodiversity really was the work that we did with the community. So we did 3 community workshops with very different community members, different groups. And the most beautiful thing really was the interviews that we did with them, where they sort of expressed their sense of rootedness to Stockport and their sense of belonging. The work that we did ended up becoming a sort of expression of their own emotional journeys here in Stockport. And so really that was the kind of diving off point, was these beautiful interviews that were so poetic. We really sort of built a story, and the whole project developed around these interviews. So I hope what jumps out is the kind of poetry of the people of Stockport through watching the animations and through watching the films, because their voices become the soundtrack.
Di brings her artistry, using certain technological approaches and methodologies and software to look at the impact on ecology and the future of ecology, and in this instance specifically about Stockport. We want to bring people back into the town centre, but give them a cultural offer that they're interested in, give them a reason to want to come back into the town centre. You can't just plant art there, you have to make art collaborative, you have to give them ownership.
Seeing more activities, cultural activities in Stockport is such an important thing. I think we lose sight. We come into Stockport, we grab whatever's needed, bottle of perfume, we go home, everything else is forgotten about. So we're not sort of feeding back into the community at all. So this is a really, really, really important thing that everybody needs to participate in and give a little bit, give a bit back.
As a multidisciplinary artist, my work spans from sculpture, performance, costume and film. So this was the perfect project to bring all of those elements together. During the making of the project, we made quite a big shift. Originally, we thought we were going to create some kind of installation where people could scroll through all the bulbs created during the community workshops. It was during that process I thought we could be liberated if, rather than having a physical device, we create a speculative device using film and props. And so the character of the last came about through that decision. And so we have 2 worlds really, above the ground where the last is, which is filmed and set within Stockport, and then below the ground, which is digital, created using 3D modelling, and the bulbs, the scanned bulbs created in the workshops. While we were filming our character, the last, who's actively seeking out these bulbs that the community members have planted in the ground, these virtual bulbs, to go about the town and see, oh wow, that corner of Stockport is just so intriguing. So many sort of curious nooks and wonderful sort of like moments like the pyramid, which I didn't know about, but it looks quite spectacular. So by being on the ground and filming here, it sort of changed and diverted our narrative a lot, but in a way that was really positive. So it feels like Stockport itself has co-directed this film.
To me, emotional biodiversity is a connection between myself as a person and the natural world and people in general in the natural world, and kind of realising that we all share emotions and struggles. I think what surprised me about the work is being able to actually visualise these really abstract ideas, that amazing ideas that Di comes up with. And when you first hear them, you're like, I have no idea how that's going to turn out. And then actually seeing everything come together and seeing the reactions of the people who were involved with the making of the bulbs and the voiceovers and just everything coming together.
I hope that emotional biodiversity sort of broadens people's horizons as to what's possible, what digital art is, how they can get involved in it. I think sometimes it feels a bit of an unknown idea or concept, and I hope that this connects people to that and gets them interested, whether they've gone to make it or just take an interest or just enjoy it for while it's on. I think for me that will make the exhibition a real success.
So we are here at Stockroom in Stockport, which is hosting Emotional Biodiversity by Mainstone. It centres around trying to see the ecological crisis through the community's eyes here in Stockport. Basically a culmination of working with the community and bringing their stories to life in a speculative future about Stockport that's flooded, and a character called the Last Uncovering Bulbs with the stories from those former inhabitants. Mainstone is a multidisciplinary artist, so it means that we're bringing together a lot of different elements. We've got performance, we've got vocals, we've got 3D scanning, live action cinematography. There's just so many different elements. What we've had this evening alongside the launch of the artwork, we had a beautiful artist talk from Mainstone, Nick Delap and Mandy Wigby, who is the main creative team for the project, talking about the inspiration, ideas, the idea of emotional biodiversity, which hopefully re-engages people and kind of shakes off a bit of the apathy we can often feel with the ecological crisis. You can kind of see how it is a massive collaborative effort and how the community really is a co-creator, and the people of Stockport are a co-creator in this project. So it turned from a challenge into one of the most powerful elements of the exhibition.